Ah, come on, I'm hitting the wrong buttons here. Here's the research I'm working on, guys. If you haven't read my little story on the website, I am working on using supercomputers to simulate tornadoes, specifically violent tornadoes. And this is just a little animation of that. This is where the tornado forms, and this is the thunderstorm. You can tell the whole thing's rotating. It's called a supercell thunderstorm for that reason. And then these little lines you see are kind of just kind of basically representing what the airflow is doing. But yeah, I guess since I had that open, I could show you. Didn't mean to have it on the front screen when I started the video, though. Anyways, so there's something I forgot to talk about in the forecast yesterday, and that is that we're getting into lake effect snow season. And lake effect snow basically happens because you get the lake waters are, the Great Lakes are still warm. They haven't really cooled down for the season yet, but the air is starting to get cold. And so I'll just explain to you real quick how this kind of happens. So we know that hot air generally rises over cold air. I don't think that's a mystery to most people. It's a pretty common thing that people say. But anyway, you get this warm water in the lake down here, and so you're going to get a rising motion here. And when you get cold air move over the top of it, you're going to get condensation and clouds. And so if you have a strong enough difference and you have enough cold air moving over the top of this, and this is very simplified, but basically if you get that situation, you'll eventually build the clouds up enough to where they really start pumping out some snow. So the most ideal scenario for lake effect snow is if you have the air moving across the lake for as long as possible. So basically, if I'm, you don't get lake effect snow a whole lot on the southern end of Lake Michigan, but let's say, just for example here, if I live in northwest Indiana, right here on the southern tip of Lake Michigan, the scenario for the most intense output of lake effect snow in that area would be if I had air coming all the way down the stretch of Lake Michigan and then dumping the snow right here, because it has a long time to pick up all that warm air and moisture off the lake and then just dump it all right here. And it's the same thing if I live over here. I would say I've got Lake Erie right here. If I'm in New York, the best case scenario for lake effect snow to happen right here is if I've got a wind that's going directly across Lake Erie right here and picking up as much moisture and warm air as possible before it dumps it off. And so I forgot to talk about this yesterday because I just hadn't thought about it. But anyway, so the current pattern is setting up really good to get lake effect snow in these areas, and I'll just show you why. So if we go to look at the temperature, I need temperature and wind. So as this big cyclone kind of moves off, big low pressure system kind of moves off this way, you'll notice that there's a west to northwest wind for several days after it passes. And you can even the model is picking up on the fact that the lakes are still warmer than the air around it. But basically, this sets up a perfect scenario for getting a little bit of lake effect snow. Now, nobody's going to get feet on feet like years past, and yet, at least. The wind's not real strong, and So, I don't think there's going to be a ton of snowfall, but we should still talk about it and look at it. So I'm just going to come over here to the couple of regions that are expected to be affected by this. We'll look at the western part of the Midwest first, or excuse me, that's not even the western part, just the Midwest. And you can see that areas around Lake Superior, the UP of Michigan, and maybe even northern Wisconsin, northern Michigan, going to get a little bit of lake effect over the next few days. And that's for reasons we exactly just talked about. We're going to have air kind of coming out of the northwest across both these lakes, Lake Michigan and Lake Superior, and you can kind of see how that works out as it comes across both these lakes and dumps snow off just on the other side. So then if we go over to the eastern Great Lakes, let's see, that's Canada. Parts of New York are going to get affected by this too. So here's Lake Erie. The other Great Lake as well. That's sitting right there. And New York actually doesn't get a ton. It looks like some more pops up in Michigan towards the end of the period. But yeah. So as the season goes on, this lake effect snow is a major concern, and if you live in these areas, you know that it can just dump feet on feet of snow in a fairly short period of time. But it's just something to think about. I personally love hunting in the snow. I haven't gotten to do it a whole lot, being originally from Oklahoma. I might be able to change that in Wisconsin, although we haven't gotten a whole lot of snow yet this year. So because I haven't done it a whole lot, I can't speak for what it does for deer movement. I've always heard it's really good hunting, but like I said, I've only gotten to do it a couple times, being where I'm from. So anyways, just wanted to give y'all an update on that and kind of give you an explanation for why that happens. But good luck, and we'll see you later.